Okay, hello. I thought I'd better do a video on this, seeing as I kind of found something half interesting with it. And it kind of related back to Madonna. So if you recall, I just did a video for Madonna Death Day on 310. Well, of course, nothing transpired as per usual, but um, there was something interesting at the Oscars. They always do something ridiculous. Um, and this was what was interesting was this John Cena um, in his birthday suit deal, right? Looking a lot like Jesus right here, yeah. And the idea of being born, what do you come out wearing? Your birthday suit, yeah. And they made the reference to this with him um, doing the award for best costume design. Notice the sandals that he's wearing. Notice he stood inside. I haven't got a very good shot of it here, but he stood inside a blue and white ring. Yeah, the Vesica Pisces, the blue and white Mary. Yeah, Madonna, Mary, the blue and white ring. So we've got a Jesus rebirth thing going on. Yeah, John Cena, JC. Okay, so let's look very quickly at some of the gematria for John Cena and some of this interesting stuff here, I suppose. I don't know. It's not mega interesting, but it's interesting, kind of. Jesus Christ. Notice we in the reverse. We've got a 146. John Cena is a 146. We've got a match there. Would have been nice if he'd had a bit more than just. It would have been nice if he had like a double match. Obviously, we've got 43 and 34 in the reduction, which is kind of reversed, which is reasonable. It's not amazing or anything, but the 146 obviously is a little bit more interesting. Um, what else to say, really? I mean, we can look at Jesus and Christ individually, and we've got the 34 in the reverse reduction matching with John Cena, and just the reduction there. What have we got for? Nothing really there for Christ, apart from we've got a 40, which is kind of interesting with John Cena's 70. And 70 obviously is the day of the year. 310 is the 70th day of the year, so that's kind of interesting as well. Um, what else did I want to mention here? Um, let's just look at the 40th day of the year very quickly as well, because I've forgotten exactly what it was. 2/9, the 9th of February this year. So that's interesting, the 29. And so what else did I find, right? Well, I wouldn't really be doing this video now just to say, oh well, look at the Oscars. John Cena's they're doing a rebirth, a Christ ritual at the Oscars, right? I just thought, well, I wonder if there's any connection between John Cena and Madonna. So I just typed into Google, and lo and behold, the Google gods didn't disappoint. They slung this back at me, right? Madonna, famous kin of Madonna, right? I counted down here. There's 26 of them. There's some interesting ones. Oh, here's the Huffs off of Dancing with the Stars, seventh cousin, 4 times removed. So that means you've got to go back um, quite a few generations to get back to like 11 generations maybe to get back to a common ancestor here. Okay, we've got Pierre Trudeau, yeah, and obviously there's the other Trudeau on here. I think, yeah, Justin as well, the one that's there now in Canada. Eighth cousin, 1 time removed. So you've got to go back 9 generations to find. I think that's the way that works, to find a common ancestor, which is quite a ways back, really. But anyway, anyway. This is the one it threw up for me. Not Jim Carrey, but John Cena. 10th cousin. I just was like, really? That is extremely interesting. Obviously, there's obviously Mark Wahlberg's in there as well, which is kind of interesting because these two characters do have a similar look about them, even though that we're talking about different ancestors. But I think I did take a quick look at them, and it looked like they might have another common ancestor as well. But Chris Pratt, he's on here. That's kind of interesting. Jim Carrey. Who else is interesting? Justin Bieber, Megan Trainor, Angelina Jolie. And so, is this really super significant? Going back 10 generations to find a common ancestor? Well, yes and no. I mean, it's kind of, we're probably talking by the time you've out of, if you think about how many offspring, if you go back those 10 generations and then you think about how many offspring have come forth from that great ancestor, probably hundreds of thousands, no doubt. So is the connection super significant? Not really, but when you put it in the context of world population, I guess it starts looking a little bit more significant. And then I guess when you look at, there's only 26 on her list of sort of celebrity relation, distant relations, very distant relations. It is kind of significant, So this connection to John Cena here, kind of interesting. I wouldn't put too much on it, but I just thought it was interesting with the JC connection, with the Madonna, I'd been looking at the 310 for Madonna, and so I thought, you know what, I will have a look and just see if there's anything else interesting with the chart that I was looking at. And let's go to that chart now, which was the Queen's Cross chart. This is one of my decode charts. If you're new, you're going to have to go back and check out some old videos to find out about this. But for those of you that watched that Madonna video, I was looking at predominantly this set of numbers here. And in fact, I was picking out this 3-1 right here. And obviously there's a date coming up, which is the 14th, which is Pi Day coming up, which is another opportunity. It's basically the same decode for Pi Day now coming up for Madonna. So that's another opportunity for Madonna to croak on the 14th. But this was the number I was kind of looking at, yeah, because it's synchronized down here with the 8-4 in the same column and everything. So I know this is hard to kind of maybe understand for a new person, but anyway, we had Madonna, her birthday, with a sort of opposite set of numbers. So we had a birthday and an opposite set of numbers, like birth and death, the opposite. Okay. Now, interesting with the 2-9, what I just talked about there with the 40th day of the year, because I'll tell you what else. So that's at the middle of that, and also this 25 is at the middle of this as well, which is kind of interesting as well with John Cena, because the 10th of March is 25 days on from a very important sort of date, which is 2/14. Okay, and if you'll notice in this table, all these ones that line up along here, okay, and all these 8s that line up, right, are in 2 and the 14 row, yeah? The start of Lent this year, Valentine's Day, where the 1 hits through the heart, which is the number 8, okay? Let me explain that very quickly. Let me get rid of some of this junk real quick. So hopefully we can just about see it up the top here, but if I do you a part of a heart there, yeah? And let's change colors. And then let's do the other part of the heart. Okay? Now if you can make this out, this green, if I was to take that green and rearrange it, so this has made the number 8 now, Okay, and I've put a half of a heart and a half of a heart to make that number 8. And if we rearrange that back around that way, it makes the heart. Okay, so the number 8 is the heart, and we need the number 1 shooting through it. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. The only reason why I bring that up is because this is the kind of synchronicity that I'm getting. Is my youngster has been doing that all week at me, making with her fingers, making the heart shape, and then flipping it to make the number 8. And it's like, oh, sometimes you just get stuff from the weirdest of places. But anyway, so there's 214, 25 days on, which is the start of Lent. 25 days on, in the middle of this thing is 310. Okay, is this 310 number here? Okay, so again, part of the reason why I was kind of interested in 310. But for sure, John Cena's birthday is right here, the 23rd of April. Yeah, and when we're dealing with crosses, that's a pretty important one to deal with, especially the man. The 23rd of April, St. George, the George's Cross. Again, pretty interesting that it kind of ties into. Let's make this cross in here. Let's go back to orange. Let's make the cross so you can kind of see it. Actually, let's do this a bit bigger as well so it stands out a bit better. But let's just put this cross in. Okay. We've got pi running across the middle. We've got John Cena's birthday down the bottom there. We're coming up and around. And at the top here, this is kind of interesting. The 9-1 again. With the crown thing going on. And the 19 crown thing going on, and also recently with the Kate Middleton thing. Probably the reference. Is she now the Princess of Wales? So the reference back to maybe the Princess of Wales again with this whole thing, and her birthday, which is the 9th of January. And whatever's going on with her, I do not know, but they've made a story about it. So that's kind of interesting. But here's John Cena's birthday, tying back into this 3-1 right here with that ritual. Okay. And again, if we his birthday shows you can make loads of little crosses in here with the birthday of John Cena with the 234. But again, if we look right here, shows up right here, and I'm trying to stay on lines where it's to do with the cross. And again, what have we got popping up? We're right next to the eclipse numbers here, and on the other side of it, that 25, the 25 days on from the start of Lent, yeah, of the 40 days, what they call it, the 40 days, remember, of Lent, which is actually 46 days, and he actually might be 46 as well, funnily enough. So this whole thing of Lent through to Easter again, just mental, really. I don't think I've really got much more to say about it than that, but it just was interesting that it tied in with the Madonna thing. It kind of reminds me of the start of Back to the Future as well, with with that 25, the 8:25, the 25 minutes late, and the reference to Mary at the start of Back to the Future getting destroyed when Marty is reborn. Yeah, the amp blows up. There's all the primary knobs on there, primary, and then Marty gets blown backwards. You see the umbilical cord, and he's been birthed. And I think somebody was talking. I can't remember what channel it was, but they had mentioned it was maybe Divine Truth or something. I don't know, but they did mention something about Nephilim being birthed from the navel or something, which was kind of interesting with the idea of the the ant being the belly button, and then Marty coming out through that thing. I don't know. But again, I'm just getting sidetracked with the, and that's the 25 minutes late thing. And again, I think it was 20 from her throne coming off of her seat in the tour, whatever concert she was doing at that time on the 18th. I think that was again. I think that was 21 days. So I don't know where that puts us. 4 more days on for Pi. Maybe that puts us at 25 days for that date for Madonna as well, which is kind of interesting. 25 days on again. I don't know. I'm just sort of waffling out loud here, but I just thought it was interesting with those connections there. I'm going to leave it there for this one. I just want it to be a short video, really. So there's a nice little connection there. Back to Madonna. I don't know how good of a connection it really is when everything boils down to everything. If you look up some of these celebrities, or some of the, like the Queen or Diana or Washington, they've got there's loads and loads of people on their relation list. 10th cousins here and there and whatnot. So we're talking, out of thousands upon thousands of possibilities. But again, it showed up, so I don't. You know what I mean? I don't know. Ah, dear. Alright, I'm calling it quits on this one. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, just keep your eyes peeled for the 14th, the next job. So anyway. Oh, and I tell you what, one more thing. Let me just show you as well. Hang on a minute, because just one last thing. Let's just go to the other chart, the chart Lorraine, and let's just point out John Cena's birthday here. Yeah, from the center of the clock tower, the 14 and the 23 and the 4 breaks off with this 23 here. And again, Kate Middleton, look at this on this side here, the 19 on this side. So that's interesting. I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's just leave it. It's interesting, okay? I'll catch you on another one real soon. Alright, cheers. Bye.